So he joined ISKCON in Toronto, Canada, as a brahmachari in 1970. And then he went on to serve in ISKCON New York in various capacities until 1976, when he moved to Sri Mayapur. And since then, he's been staying there in Mayapur. There he accepted many responsibilities, including building, construction, and establishing the Bengali language division of the BBT. He also met his wife, Ati Taguna Mataji, in Mayapur, and was married there in 1980, raising 4 children with her, mostly in Mayapur. He currently resides in Mayapur and serves the GBC in various capacities, primarily through ISKCON Online, iskononline.com. He also serves ISKCON Mayapur as a member of the Mayapur Community Sevaks team. I know he also played a very important role, a major role in our World Holy Name Week, which was very successful. Even here in our ISKCON of Bergen community, we took it up and we did a lot of holy name preaching with Harinam and the daily chanting. So all glories to him and the entire team behind the Holy Name Week. So let's unmute and welcome Prabhuji with loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra once.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, welcome. Very honored and blessed to have you with us today, all the way from Mayapur.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we are in Mayapur, and you are in New Jersey. I spent some years in Alachua, Florida, which is near to Gainesville. And perhaps you've heard the story of Srila Prabhupada's visit there when he gave a talk. I believe it was at the University of Florida. And he opened his talk by mentioning how here we are in this city of Gainesville, far, far away from Sridham Mayapur. He made note that Sri Mayapur is, at least for us, we see it, and it is a fact that the center of the universe is residing here. But for today's talk, we're going to focus on Vrindavan, on Vraja, because it is in Vraja that Sri Krishna displays and enjoys his complete Leela of being a cowherd boy. We were celebrating, for us, Gopashtami was celebrated yesterday. It is, for me, it is now morning time. For you, it is the evening. And so we gathered at our Goshala, and we heard how Mahaprabhu, he also enjoys his cowherd Leela, but in a different sense. Mahaprabhu, in his daily program, after his Brahminical activity, in the morning, his Brahminical work of offering worship, etc., having Bhagavatam Katha, having the prasad, he would gather with all of the devotees. We were hearing this from Janani Vasprabhu yesterday. He would gather with all the devotees, and then they would go out on Nagar Sankirtan. They would go out on Sankirtan. And where would they go? They would go from village to village in this vicinity. And he described how, as they left and they proceeded from the house of Jagannath Mishra, they would go through the area that we were sitting in, Mayapur Goshala area, and they would approach the Jalangi River. And on the other side of the Jalangi River, it is, even today, is inhabited especially by the Cowherd community. So they would go into that area. There's particularly when we do the Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, we visit a place called Gaur Daha. And Gaur Daha is was a community of cowherds. And Mahaprabhu took his tumultuous kirtan, Jagadananda Pandit is describing this. I believe in Chaitanya Bhagavat, but I'm not quite sure where. But anyway, he's describing how they joined and went to, maybe Navadvip Mahatmya, I believe, how they went to this place in joyous kirtan and were met by all the Ghosh families, the Goalas, who embraced them and they enjoyed their pastimes. And they felt the same sort of affinity. They said, "You're not a Brahmin, you're like us. You're a cowherd." And that was the mood. Particularly Nityananda, he especially brings with him all of the sakhas that are enjoying with Krishna in Golok. They come in Gaur Leela and they are associating with Nityananda Prabhu especially. So we have the Leela, the cow connection is there in Gaur Leela, but it is not so prominent. We don't hear of cows wandering, and the relationship is different. We never hear of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata keeping cows. So there's a difference. Krishna is feeling that, but because he's trying to come into and to experience the mood of Sri Radha, so his approach is a little different. But in Vraj, cows are everywhere. The cows are intimately involved in all of Krishna's pastimes. In every one of the rasas, we find Krishna is enjoying with the cows. So Krishna's relationship with the cows begins from the very beginning of we understand that Krishna has different stages of his life, just like we do also. We have our infancy, and we then have our toddler stage, and then we start to become children, so to speak, and then adolescents, and then teenagers, and then young adults, etc. Of course, Krishna never goes beyond the teenage in terms of his physical appearance to us. He never ages beyond that. But before that, he demonstrates, he reveals different physical maturities. So in the beginning, his Komara Leela, his relationship with the cows is very playful. We hear about him playing in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, where when a calf is being a cow is being milked, and the calf is there, and he's holding on to the tail of the calf and pulling around. Yesterday we heard a story how the elderly, the elderly gopis would assemble and in a playful mood, they would tell Krishna as a small toddler child. Of course, Krishna is a very precocious child. Within a month or less than 2 months, he's already crawling. And the mothers in our audience here will relate that that's highly unusual. You know, I've had 4 children. My first child was adopted, so I didn't get to see him crawl. But the other three children, we did see this progression, and crawling usually comes, 6 months or 7. But Krishna was crawling as soon as like 1.5 months. So he matured very, very quickly. And that's one of the reasons that we are going to arrive at this day of Gopashtami. So he was maturing quickly. So we saw him playing with the calves. We heard that yesterday how the gopis, they teased Krishna in a certain way. They said, you can collect this cow dung because the cows deposit their dung everywhere, so it needs to be collected. We'll give you a sladu for every basket, every bunch of cow dung you carry. So he was very excited, and he would carry the cow dung, and it was described that for each one to keep count, they would take some dung, and they put a little bindi on his cheeks, and by the time his whole face was covered with cow dung. In this way, Jananivas Prabhu, who was describing this, was pointing out the sanctity of the cows, and how any other dung, any other product like that would be considered to be very muchi, impure, but all the products of the cow are pure. The dung, the urine, all of these, Krishna enjoyed all of these. He also pointed out in that class how we need to also develop our appreciation for these. If we have an aversion, then it will be an obstacle to our entrance into Braja Leela. So anyhow, so Krishna is maturing, and now he's restlessly moving about, and to engage him, because as all the mothers, again, as you know, the worst thing is a child with nothing to do. If they have nothing to do, then they just want attention from you, and you cannot pacify them. They need always some engagement. And for Krishna, being a naughty boy, if he wasn't positively engaged in some nice activity, he'll find some mischief to do, as we know from some days past, and we are celebrating this whole month as Damodar Mash. So we hear how he was very mischievous. So to give him some positive engagement, but not too risky, the Nanda Maharaj and the Gopas, they began engaging Krishna and Balaram in taking care of the calves. Now the calves don't go very far. They can't be allowed to just wander. Yesterday in our Goshala, we went and we spent a little time with the calves, who have their own little place, because if they're allowed to just go out and wander around, they can easily get hurt. So they're kept for the first few months. They're kept from going out into the forest. And in this way, Krishna had some opportunity to take them nearby, and always under the watchful eye of Mother Yashoda, he would play with the calves and enjoy with them and have their lila. So it's so that for this initiation, there was also some ceremony, but now Krishna is maturing. He is getting into what is known as his Poganda time, the Poganda stage of his life, which is around 5 years old. Now, this is a very critical time. Again, the parents here know that when the children start to get to that age, they need more engagement. It is not enough to just give them some toys to play with here and there. They need to start to develop their curiosity, their energy is building, and they need so much more. But Mother Yashoda doesn't want She wants to keep her child close. And so there's some resistance to let him advance. And he sees this. So he starts to make some noise in the Gopa community. Nanda Maharaj notices that Krishna is spending time with his brothers and the elder Gopas and not so much time with him, and something's going on. And he inquires, and Sananda and his brothers explain, yes, Krishna's been talking to us. He's saying, I'm not sure what in Sanskrit or Braj the word for uncle is, but uncle. I'm getting, I'm old enough. It's time. It's my time. Come on. You have to say something to Nanda Baba. It's time for me to, it's not fair. He's got to go out. I'm here. I'm strong. I can do so much. I can help. I've got Balaram too. So in this way, Nanda Maharaj understands that it's time. It's time for Krishna to begin his next stage of life. Of course, Yashoda Ma is worried. Oh my, Krishna is going to go out into the forest. She's in so much anxiety. Anxiety in Mother Yashoda is not like our anxiety. It's a different kind of anxiety. There was my wife tells a story that she heard, she was present, where Srila Prabhupada was walking in the botanical gardens in Melbourne, and she was privileged to be there. And our godbrother Chittahari was the I think he was president of the Sydney Temple at the time, but I'm not sure. Anyway, he approached Srila Prabhupada and he was saying how we've heard that being in devotional service is Vaikuntha, the place without anxiety. But I'm always feeling anxiety. Does that mean I'm in the material world, or what is this anxiety? And Srila Prabhupada responded how, well, anxiety is also there in Vaikuntha. We see Mother Yashoda is always in anxiety about how to please Krishna, how to take care of Krishna, how he can be protected. But her anxiety is born out of pure love. Our anxiety sometimes is born out of ego. We're afraid of our reputation or making mistakes that will cause us to have more work to do. So he made that distinction, that there is anxiety, but the anxiety is an ecstatic anxiety born out of love. So Mother Yashoda was anxious, and the comparison could be there for us parents here. It's around the same time that we send our children to school. We don't have, and of course this was school for the cowherds. What was school? At this stage, they didn't enter into the gurukulas that the Brahmins would enter. Later, we find that Krishna did enter the gurukula. But for now, he enters the gurukula of the cowherds, the gopas, which is to learn how to take care of the cows. And the first step is how to take care of them in the herding activity. So Nanda Maharaj feels, well, this is a very important occasion. It's just, this is the initiation in one sense. This is the kind of the Upanayanam of the cowherds, to give them the entrance into the cowherding fraternity. So a huge festival is arranged, and the cows are worshipped, and Krishna is awarded, Krishna and Balaram are awarded the paraphernalia of the cowherds. Now, one of those paraphernalia, though, is rejected. There is, Krishna is offered shoes to protect his feet as he's walking through the forests. And Krishna says, no, I can't. The cows have no shoes. How I can take shoes? If you want to give me shoes, you have to give shoes to all the cows. And Nanda Baba's got 900,000 cows. So that's a lot of shoes. Took a lot of time to, I mean, he could make them, but it would take a little time to get those shoes together. So okay. But the cows, they don't want Krishna's feet to be hurt in any way. So they have made the paths. They break up all the rocks and the clumps of earth to make the path very smooth for Krishna to travel. So ceremony is over. Time is there for Krishna to go with the cows. And the cows are there, and Krishna's got his flute, and Balaram's got his horn, and they're ready to go. And there's a hi, hi, let us go. And the cows don't move. They're just looking at him. They're looking at Krishna, and they can't take their eyes off of him. So they don't move. And then it's understood. And Krishna, he moves to the front, and then they follow him. Now, Mother Yashoda's say, now, Balaram, you stay here, Subal, you stay over here, Sridhar, you all have to take care of Krishna. And the whole procession begins to move to the pasturing grounds. And Yashodama and all of it, they can't leave either. So they're going ahead. They're going. And the young gopis, today is, today for you and yesterday was also a special day where Sri Radha, and in Mayapur we have all the Ashtashaktis. They're dressed in what is called Subal Vesh, and that's a whole other story. But one characteristic of this day is that this is the only day where, at least in some temples, there is the opportunity to see the lotus feet of Sri Radha. And one of the explanations is that because the young gopis were following along to follow Krishna, they didn't want to leave him. But the grass was getting a little tall. They had to lift up their skirts in order to follow. And that is one of the explanations. There's another explanation, the whole Leela of Subal Vesh, which if we have time, we can go there. But Krishna is turning and says, Baba, it's my day. You can't just, it's time for me and my friends to do our service. So we're okay. Don't worry. We're all right. Go home. Let us do our service. Of course, in his mind is, let us play. Let us play. Because that is the way in which the cows serve Krishna in this part of his life, this Koganda Leela. They enable his playful sport. They enable his Shaka Rasa, Sakya Rasa. So reluctantly, the Nanda Baba, Mother Yashoda, they turn back, always looking behind, and Krishna waves, and they watch as he goes off into the forest with his cows. And they stay back at home, just thinking of Krishna, just thinking and singing. The kirtan of Goloka. We know that this kirtan descends from Goloka. Golokera Premadan, Harinam Sankirtan. So this Harinam Sankirtan is continuously going on in Golokadam. The residents, the Vrajavasis, they're continuously singing. It is said that in Goloka, we were hearing that every word is a song. Every step is a dance. And one devotee was commenting, if every word is a song and every step is a dance, then what would the dancing be like? The dancing must be so extraordinary. And it is out of this world. As well as the kirtan, the singing. And the cows, they have their kirtan too. They have their mooing kirtan, which they supply for the pastimes of Krishna. So the cows of Vrindavan, the cows of Goloka, they facilitate Krishna's pastimes in so many ways. It is by going out into the forest, then Krishna gets the opportunity to now play with abandon. And we hear in Krishna book and in Bhagavatam, we hear about the sport of Krishna and his cowherd boyfriends. The scene is being set for so many different leelas by the facility of the cows. By coming out into the forest, the opportunity is there for so much leela. And not only the sportive leela, but we find also the leelas of protecting his friends, because the demons, they come too. This sport that Krishna enjoys in his herding time of the day includes his playful sport with his friends and his playful sport with the demons. I've heard that every day we hear about the prominent ones, but apparently it's part of the schedule of his daily schedule. That, okay, I'm going out now, I've had my breakfast, everything is fine, we're going to go out with the cows and into the forest with my friends, and we're going to play, and around noontime, there'll be a demon come to kill and to destroy, and then we'll hear about lunch. And so he's got this schedule of leelas. So the cows facilitate all of this. We have the cows participate, they give opportunity for the Vatsashura as the one type of demon to come in. We were reading today about how even the saving of the boys and the cows from the forest fire. That the forest fire, this was, I think, explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. There's a wonderful article online that maybe I can share. I was reading before this to get some more good things to talk about. It's actually an article written by a devotee recounting Indradumna Maharaj's talk in Bihar Van of Brajadam. Bihar means a place of enjoyment. So this is a place that is especially known for its facility for enabling Krishna's Leela. And he spoke especially about the cows of Vrindavan and how they're described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in a book, I believe it's called Sri Vraja Riti Chintamani, which I was also looking up. So anyway, I can share these. But it was describing how the forest fire had arisen because the cows had wandered off, and they were in a very difficult lake that had some deep mud, and they were getting stuck there. And so all the Cowherd boys, they were all looking to see where they'd wandered off, and they were going there, and so we all huddled around the cows. And this demon took the opportunity to circle them with fire to destroy them. And Krishna, all the Cowherd boys, they're all crying out, Krishna, 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 you've saved us in so many other situations. You have to save us, please. And Krishna was thinking that, okay, I can easily but if they see me, he told the Cowherd boys, close your eyes. He was thinking if they see me swallowing fire, I mean, they complained about me swallowing dirt to Mother Yashoda. What will they do if they see me swallowing fire? So he says, you close your eyes, I'll take care of it. I have an idea, don't worry. And as their eyes were closed, he swallowed all the fire, and then they opened their eyes. It was all gone into Krishna, some demigod. So in this way, the cows facilitate Krishna's Leela in Poganda, and then also after the killing of Dhenukasura, it's told that Krishna begins to enter his Kashora. This is the time when he's still quite young. He's, as I said, he's precocious. For ordinary humans, the adolescent, the time when the feeling, and again, the mothers know how the children, even around the time of, generally around 9 or 10. I mean, I have a grandson that we're observing right now, who's just getting to be 11 years old, and we're seeing that his feelings, his attitudes have changed in many different ways. It's around this time, for Krishna, is around the time of 7. He starts to become more conscious of his body, and he becomes more conscious of the gopis. And the whole Madhurya Leela begins to awaken. At first, it is called Purva Rag. The Purva Rag meaning the attachment that leads up, and by the arrangement of Yogamaya, Radha and Krishna feel like they've never met. Although Krishna and Radha are interacting in a childish way. We heard some days back how even in the Damodar Leela, how as Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna, and every amount of rope is not working, and Krishna is getting to the point, well, Mother's getting tired. I'll allow myself. That is that time that Sri Radha, as a very small 3-4-year-old, probably 3 years old, toddles up and is curious what's going on, and seeing, well, and she takes a string from her hair, I believe. I heard this, but I don't remember the details. She takes a string. Here, I have something. I can help. As a little child, not with not much. I've got string. I've got some rope. And it's with that string that Mother Yashoda can bind Krishna. So Radha is present in the Kumara Leela. Radha is present in the Kokanda Leela. But when Krishna begins to enter, and Radha, they begin to enter their Kaishora time. It's as if they never met. So that's a whole other discussion. But today is a day to remember Krishna's relationship with the cows, and to also try to enhance and develop our own relationship with cows. So much can be said about this. As we've been describing, that the cows serve Krishna in so many different ways to enable his Leela. And Krishna has a feeling towards the cows, which is in that Vatsalya. In fact, Vatsa is another name for calf. So the relationship between the cows and Krishna is something just like the fathers and mothers, like Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and all the elderly Gopas and Gopis, their feelings towards Krishna and Krishna's feelings towards them. As he would arise in the morning, he would address the cows as mother and father. And that is also our relationship with the cows and the bulls, as mothers and fathers. Krishna had such an intimate relationship with the cows, just like a child with a mother. I think can I share my screen here? If you give me permission, I'd like to share to screen share. I picked out a little painting that I'd like to share. So whoever is the host.
You're the co-host now.
Okay, so let's see if I can do this. Yeah. So I think you can see this. Can you see Krishna is lying there on the breast of a cow. There's another cow gazing on him. They're all sort of circled around him, just as a loving mother would cradle their child. So this relationship, not the relationship that Krishna was feeling towards the cows were feeling towards Krishna. This is very extraordinary. I mean, we aspire to develop our relationship with the cows and to see them as our mothers, but it's very seldom that we actually get to feel their motherly love for us. It is possible. You are so fortunate that you live within a few hours from Gitanagari. And I assume all of you have been there. I don't know if I think it may have been the last time or a time before that I visited with my daughter. We went and the cows were relaxing in the field. And because they're very, very wonderful cows, they would let us go up and just sit down with them and lie down. Something like this. Let me just share another. This is not. He's not a devotee, but you can see how the cow there is expressing her motherly affection for this. Maybe he's probably by the looks of it, he is their cowherd. So, in fact, it was pointed out that today, I think even in Gita Nagari, they're beginning to have people come there for cow therapy to get the motherly love of the cow. Just see this. The cow has no reason to love us in the sense of motherly love. The cows we're not their children, but still they do. If they see us, of course, unfortunately, most human beings that the cows encounter in our world don't see them as their mothers, but see them only as a source of income. While they can produce milk, they take the milk, and when they can't, then they take their bodies as flesh. They kill them. So unfortunate. And not only do they kill the cows, they rip away the children of these cows. Srila Prabhupada describes in the first canto, I think it is 1:17, something like that, how this barbaric activity of taking the calves away from the cows for slaughter is the cause of suffering throughout the world. This most sinful act he describes. But when the cows are cared for, when the cows are treated as mothers, and the bulls are treated as fathers, then they see us also as their children. And they're ready to serve, to give us their milk for our nourishment, and to give us comfort. As I said, like this man that you saw, my daughter was there. I was a little nervous, I guess, or whatever. But she went right up to one of the cows, lay down, and just in her lap. And this cow was so affectionate. So in this way, the cows have a relationship with us. It's a natural relationship. There are many in the world today who have adopted the philosophy of being vegan, that animals and humans should not have any relationship like this, where animals serve human beings. They should live their own lives in their own ways, in their own communities. But this is not the way that Krishna has created this world. He's created this world in a way that all species of life have an interrelationship. Even I'm still very curious to know more about how Krishna's goats and Krishna's buffaloes participated in his Leela, because there were goats, there were buffaloes. I don't know how many other village animals were there. There were dogs, there were parrots. The parrots have a very special relationship in Krishna's Leela. The peacocks. But the cows have this very special, particular relationship because they're the mothers and fathers that continue. And of course, unlike our birth mothers and fathers, who sometimes chastise us and so on, our mothers and fathers in the bovine community, they simply give us love. And we can love them in return. So this is a day to remember this, to remember our natural relationship with the bovine community, the cow community. When I say cow, I mean cows and bulls. They're together. Krishna had his own favorite special cow. I think his name was Pancharatna, something like that. And these cows, Krishna's cows, of course, were so extraordinary. Their beauty is unsurpassed. And they dressed up. They had gold on their horns and sapphires on their hooves. Incomparable, inconceivable. The number to begin with is inconceivable, 900,000. And 900,000, that's just Nanda Maharaj's cows. Is when Krishna left for Mathura, Nanda and the elderly Gopas, they all went with him. And Krishna kills Kansa. And now Nanda and Baba say, all right, job done, well done, let's go home. But it gets a bit complicated. And this is a long, long story. But the ultimate argument that Nanda Maharaj cannot defeat, because Krishna is saying, I can't, I have to finish my work, and it's not done. Kansa was just the beginning. Kansa's father-in-law, Jarasandha, he's not going to tolerate this. He's going to come and he's going to want to take his revenge. And what to speak of Vasudeva and Devaki and Balaram is, I mean, at this time it's not quite revealed Krishna's relationship with Vasudeva. But at least we know that Balaram is Vasudeva's son. And they haven't had any opportunity to. So we have to stay for some time to finish our work. But none of them, well, then we'll all come. Nanda said, well, we'll all come and be here with you. But then Krishna says, well, what about the cows? There's no room for them at Mathura. Where are the pasturing grounds? Nanda cannot respond. So ultimately, it's the cows and the service of the cows that convince Nanda that he has to go back. He also, Mother Yashoda, if you leave, then how will the cows be cared for? So the service of cows is such an intimate part of Krishna's and Yogamaya's arrangement for Krishna's Leela. And for us to serve the cows needs to be an essential part of our development of Krishna Bhakti. To relate with Krishna, to develop our relationship with Krishna, Govinda, we must develop our relationship with his cows. Now, we don't have the opportunity as we cannot see Krishna in his full form before us. So we approach him in his deity. We approach him in his holy name. The cows that live in our world, Prabhupada describes them as the cousins of Krishna's cows. So this is very close, very, very close. When we approach them, we're getting about as close as you can get. Of course, the deity is Krishna himself, and the holy name is Krishna himself. But to approach the cows means to approach the relatives of Krishna's cows and serving those cows. We hear that not only are they the relatives of Krishna's Surabhi cows, but they're the residents of all the devas, all 33 crore, all devas, and they have a place. They take up a little corner. They want to be close to Krishna, and so they assume a spot. So by forming this relationship, now how do we do this? If we're very fortunate to have the mentality to begin with, the energy and the opportunity to personally serve the cows by living with them, then that's a great fortune. Most of us don't. By our conditioning, by our upbringing, we don't have the bhava, you could say, to work so hard. Because actually it's taking care of cows. They're big animals. They're not, little like pet cats and dogs. They're big. And so they need a little strength to work with them. You can't just, pour, I don't know, some of you may have some cats or dogs, and you may buy some vegan food that's in a little box, and you can just pour it into the bowl, and then, they eat, right? And that's not with the cows. They eat a lot. So you have to gather the food, you have to feed them, you have to clean them, and they're big. And they need to be cared for day long. You can't just, the dogs and cats, they just wander here and there. The cows, especially in today's world, but even in Krishna's world, the cows didn't roam freely. They needed care. There was always something. There were forest animals they could attack. There were dangerous pools, like it was described, where the mud could get them caught. And Krishna took very, very close care. Described as the cows were, it was the time had come. Of course, he didn't have a watch. He just could see the time for them to come home. So it's described how Krishna would climb up into a kadamba tree, and he could call the cows by name, because every one of them had a name. Shamali, Kandali. He could call them by playing on his flute. Each cow had a tune. When they heard that tune from Krishna's flute, they knew, it's time to go home. And Krishna had a mala of pearls. Must have been a very big mala, 900,000, or some sort of transcendental mala, by which he would then count each of the cows as they joined the procession. And as the cows were ready, then the procession would begin to enter, to go, return into Vraja. And all the gopis would go to the rooftops, and they'd look and they would see this cloud the cloud formed by the hooves of the cows, the duli. There's a word for that, which I don't remember, that describes that scene. It's described, and the sound would be the horns and the flutes. They would hear that Krishna is coming back. Krishna is returning. And their hearts would well up. The expectation for Krishna's return. The demigods would hear this too. They would like to see, but because their adhikar was not so great, they saw the cloud, they couldn't see Krishna. This is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I believe. I'm reading this, I've read it, I should say, in this this account that I mentioned in the beginning of Indradyumna Maharaj's talk. So you can get all the details there. I'll share it in the chat box later. So Krishna has this relationship with cows. We must form this same relationship. We don't have the adhikar, we don't have the ability to just go and be with them. So we're at our various residences. I just have a few more minutes, I think. But we have our various, so we have to figure out how are we going to have our relationship with these cows. So we can hear about them. We can read about them. But we must serve them. We have to do some service for the cows. They are serving us. I mean, I assume all of you are offering Krishna some milk products that they are supplying. So they are enabling us to serve Krishna with milk and dairy products, which he enjoys, he wants. We have to give him these. He would not be very happy if we gave him only tofu and you know, something else, jalebis, but cooked in what? They're not cooked in ghee. So if we offered Krishna, you know, all its sabjis cooked in coconut oil, maybe here and there, but he likes ghee, he likes yogurt, he likes sandesh. So even if we don't take milk for ourselves, we have to offer Krishna. And then, of course, we accept the prasad. So we're taking their service. We're taking the service of the cows. We have to serve them. We have to serve them because by serving them, we'll get their most important gift, their love and their blessings. So direct service is wonderful, but we can also serve indirectly. One formula that I follow, and Jayaveda Maharaj writes about it. You may have seen it was published in the ISKCON News, and I'll end with this suggestion. In fact, the concept, I learned this concept from Madhava Ghosh, a real Ghosh, a real Gowala from New Vrindavan, who unfortunately has passed away. But he was one of the cowherds of New Vrindavan, who wrote and very wonderful devotee. But he called it industrial milk offsets. Jayaveda Maharaj calls it ahimsa balancing. And the concept is very, very simple. We know, those of you, I think, many of you, I think, are very fortunate to be able to get milk from ahimsa dairy, from Gitanagari. You can get that milk, which is just extraordinary. Not everyone can do that. And you know that the milk from there The price of that milk is, I think, $14 or $15, $16 a gallon, something like that. It's about at least twice the, organic, grass-fed, whatever cow milk in the market. Because you need that. You have to be, for every cow that's milking, every cow that's giving milk, my calculation is that there's, in addition to the calves that are with that mother and the mothers who are in between milking, that there's at least twice as much, if not 3 times as many retired cows and bulls, all the bulls. Unfortunately, today's society gives no employment for the bulls. So other than their cow dung, which is also very valuable, they're not able to earn anything for themselves. So we have to support them. We have to take care of them. And to do that, one way is to figure, well, just if I were supporting the whole family that's providing this milk, then I should be giving, as you know from Gita Nagari, about $14, $16 a gallon, whatever it is. So if I'm buying that product in the market, then let me take the difference, which is a subsidy by the blood of those animals, unfortunately. That money that I should be spending, if I could, and I should and would do it if I could, but it's not available. Let me take that money and support, let's give that money to cows that will be protected, wherever they are. Could be in Gita Nagari, could be in Vrindavan, could be here in Mayapur. We're inviting you all to adopt our cows. We have 400. So or a little bit more, I think it's about 450 now. And most of them are retired. Most of them are retired. Only about 30 or so are employed in giving milk for the deities and the Gurukula, and about another 15 or so are employed in agriculture. And yesterday, in our Gopashtami celebrations, 2 bulls who have been employed, who have been engaged in various services, but their special service was to pull Srila Prabhupada's, Gaur Nitai's wrath on our elephant every weekend in the wintertime. And we have a procession, elephant procession, where the deities come out of the temple and they proceed around the campus, and they're preceded by Shishi Nitai Gora Sundar riding in a wonderfully carved cart pulled by bullocks, oxen. So these 2, Dwarkadish and Nitai, they had been serving for 12 years, getting a little old. So they had a Vanaprastha ceremony. We didn't know what to call it. I called it a Vanaprastha ceremony, in which because for at least in our Goshala, the bulls, in order to get nicely trained, they wear a nose rope, not a ring, but just a little rope that goes through the nose. And by tugging on that a little bit, the cow gets an immediate signal what to do. So they were freed of their nose rope and retired. So, but most of the bulls don't have much to do. So we can support them. So this is my leading comment. Think about how to support. Oh, one more thing that was introduced yesterday. It was called Go Grass. Grass means morsels, or like we have that, we say, H.I. Gosha, what is it? Mora Pancha grass, that the the words of the Goswamis are my food stuff, my 5 kinds of food, Panchagras. So Gogras, that when we sit down to eat, we take some money and we put it aside. We can't give the food to the cows, so we put some money in to give them food. So in some way or the other, please think about the cows, think about Krishna and the cows, and serve them. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sorry for going a little late. And unfortunately, I don't have much time myself because I'm also speaking here at the temple, the Bhagavatam talk. Somehow these, came together. But I suppose there might be some time, if anyone has some reflections or any, really important question that I or mistake that I made to be corrected. And then I also have to post these links here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I generally make announcements, which I will hold off for after the question and answers, since you have to leave. I humbly request devotees to stay in for the announcements, and also we'll probably get darshan of Vijay Prabhu's new installed Nimai, Nitai deities. Prabhuji, how much time you would have for question and answers?
Just 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes. There's a question in the chat box, which is, thank you for beautifully describing the pastimes and importance of cows. Is there any mention of how one should worship the cow at home? Did Srila Prabhupada give any process just as he did for deity worship?
Well, if he did, he gave it to someone who has not shared it. I have never heard of it, and I don't know of any, except with prayer, because we have a prayer that we recite when we offer food to Krishna. Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So cows are included in our prayers when we offer food to Krishna. So that is one essential element that he gave us. Other than that, and reading about them in Krishna book, we have the Govinda prayers that we sing as well. So basically, the only way that I'm familiar with that Srila Prabhupada gave us to worship cows is through our prayer. And that is for us, praying and supporting are the 2 ways that we get to serve, for most of us, get to serve cows. And using their, of course, offering their products to Krishna, offering their milk, offering their ghee. That is another way we get to serve cows.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Regarding the Goshala in Mayapur, is there information on the Mayapur website for any donations?
Yes, there is. And there is a new website for the Goshala. And I don't have that right on the top of my head, but I will send it to you, where you can offer your contributions. There is a YouTube channel, which I invite you to please go to. Again, it's not on the top of my head, but if you search for Mayapur Goshala on YouTube, there's a beautiful new video that has been put out that talks about our Goshala. It's really, really nice one. Please do go and see that. That would be very, very nice.
Is it not as important to take care of the cowherds also as much as taking care of the cows?
Yes, without the cowherds, how the cows, I mean, in fact, if you actually examine it, of course, we have such wonderful devotees like Parijata and Dhruva Maharaj that, they serve the cows in Gita Nagari without with full heart, and unfortunately, you know, not they don't ask for much at all. You know, they're not you know, asking for anything. But it's true that to support the devotees who serve the cows is very, very important, because very often, you know, they're giving their lives, and very often because of the economics of it and so on, they don't even get Social Security, perhaps, or, you know, so we have to take care of them. It's a fact. We definitely have to take care of the cowherd community and the cows, and especially if we can help to give land. That's another major way to help serve the cow.
Thank you. Jai Draupadi Mataji.
Good hospital benefits, like doctors taking care of the.
I didn't quite get that. It's breaking up somewhat. Can you?
Your speaker is breaking up. Microphone.
Can you hear now?
Much better.
That's better, yeah.
Okay, my question is that do they have a good veterinary vet hospitals to take care of the cows, retired cows?
We have a devotee veterinarian in our Mayapur Goshala who's quite good, but no, unfortunately, actual, you know, real veterinarian facility like you find in America with the you know, operating tables and, you know, all the things that you might have. Calcutta, there is one, but unfortunately, locally, no. So we have to do, everything is home care. We cannot, and we have a section of the Goshala for the injured or sick animals, but we don't have those facilities. There probably are some things I'm not particularly, you know, aware of all the. I know that there are some equipments that could be used, could be of benefit that they don't yet have. So that would be another. If you are inclined to support the medical needs of the cows, then that would be a good way to do that.
Yeah, I think when I came from India originally, veterinary doctors are very commonly used for a lot of you know, benefits for the animal husbandry and other things.
Yes,
So we
yes.
should be able to.
The doctors are there. We have doctors, but we don't have a hospital.
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Roji, I know you have to go. Is there any time for any more questions? Or?
Yeah, just a couple of minutes.
Okay. Jai Draupadi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Roji, thank you so much for the class. I have a question. So I was kind of, I really liked how you explained the importance of Mother Cow and how we should worship her. So, you know, going this, like I go to school and like my friends at school, sometimes they have this like inclination towards some like eat meat and everything. And, you know, I try to explain how they also like, you know, having pets at their house, like dogs and cats and everything, and they have that love, that affection towards them. So, you know, I kind of try to explain on how, you know, why, like I ask them why, if they have this love towards pets, and why do they eat meat and kill cows, and like, so how do they kind of sometimes like they get stubborn about it and like thinking that, you know, cows or like other animals are all meant to be eaten. So how do we explain to them the importance of like no meat eating and like cows and everything?
It's very difficult because, you know, if somebody is very attached to eating meat, if they don't understand the whole idea of animals having any rights, it's mostly because they've never met them. They've never spent time with them. If you can say, well, listen, before you you know, if you really feel that you have to eat meat, then you should go and you should kill the animal yourself. And then you see what it's like. You go to that animal and you approach them and you kill them. And then you can eat. But and consider what animals you're going to kill. You're going to kill an animal that has been giving you milk and helping you in so many ways, and then you're going to go and kill them? I mean, there's a wonderful little film that you can look up. It's called, I think, 72 Cows, something like that. And it's the story of a man in UK, in Britain, who inherited. He wanted to be an engineer, but he wasn't quite smart enough. He says. I think he's very smart, but anyway, he said that I didn't make the grade, whatever. So I inherited my father's cattle farm, and so I was working this farm. And I was just feeling so bad every time I was when I was sending these cows, I was taking care of these cows, and he wasn't even milking them. He was just grazing them. But every time that he had to pack them up and put them into the van to send them off, it was like his heart was breaking. And fortunately, he had somebody come to help, and they said, we're going to stop. We have to stop this. And they transitioned their farm into a produce farm. And by the grace of God, I should say, they were able to find a sanctuary for all of the 72 cows. That was the problem. What am I going to do with them? Because I can't afford to take care of them. But they were able to find a place. And the film ends so beautifully with these cows finding their new home, and they're dancing. It's just lovely. So, you know, that would be my core response, is that, you know, you get to know these animals first. Get to know them. Then you can say whether or not it's okay to kill them.
Thank you so much, Roji.